Crabs have the Four of Gabriel, the King of Gabriel, and then you have the Strength card. So these three cards right here for you, Crabs, represent how, okay, so this basically represents how a lot of you are looking for internal solitude, internal strength through solitude, right? There's a sense of you crabs looking for exclusivity, but at the same time, you're not going to uh, be as expected, which is for you to interact with others and for them to think of you as kind of a rug where they can just look at you, use, treat like trash, and all of that. A lot of you crabs are really not going for it. The King of Gabriel represents you will tell them what it is that you really think straight to their face. And you're going to be a lot more honest about who you are. Fair, but stern. And if the person ultimately can't take it, then it is what it is what it is at the end of the day. Because the strength represent how you crabs know what it's like to actually play by the rules and really not benefit from playing by said rules in the first place. So there's a sense of you crabs learning how to be a lot more of yourselves because you crabs have a better understanding of what happens when you try to play by somebody else's rules. You crabs also end up understanding that there is no point in doing that because you don't actually really win at playing other people's games. You only win by playing your own game. And then you crabs have the High Priestess and the Knight of Ariel. The High Priestess represents secretly a lot of other people admire you because of it, but outwardly they're going to make it seem as if they can't stand you or kind of giving you a little bit of issues. But the situation for you is that you see it, but you crabs don't necessarily really care. Ironically, I see a lot of you crabs are, again, Knight of Ariel, right? Knight of Pentacles. A lot of you are learning that you can't really please everybody and that people will give you a difficult time for the way that you move. You know, I've talked about this plenty of times that you crabs are a zodiac sign that all of them are strange in their own way, but people will give you a difficult time. And why it is auspicious for you crabs to learn how to care a little bit less is because crabs are the zodiac sign that actually go the deepest. Them and Scorpios, y'all go the deepest when it comes to getting the most extreme with this stuff, right? So it serves you crabs to really get a better understanding of how to have thicker skin so that when people kind of give you a difficult time, not saying that you crabs are not tough. See, I'm not saying that, but it's a good thing because if you learn how to develop a lot more thicker skin, because it'll be that much more difficult getting to you. And the Knight of Ariel represents you're learning how to not care about the kind of teasing you a little bit or giving you a little bit of a difficult time, which is good because what that means for you is you crabs will actually be able to stay a lot more focused on doing what it is that you need to be doing. Sometimes you crabs can kind of get knocked off of course with what it is that you originally had planned because all the crabs want to become rich and powerful. And sometimes you can essentially get derailed because of a little bit of teasing, you know? And, you know, the High Priestess represents you're learning that those people who are giving you a hard time, they ultimately care about you anyway, right? They care about you anyway. They care about what it is that you crabs ultimately think. That's part of the reason why it is that they have to tease you or give you a hard time in the first place, right? Or maybe even play games with you, right? It's because they can't stand the idea of them not having you in their life in the first place. So once again, the way that they're going about it is not necessarily the best way for them to actually handle the situation, but the way that they are doing it is in their own disingenuous way. You know, they should learn to be more honest and more transparent and more straightforward about who they are and what they want. And they will have a lot more of forgiveness because of it. Then you have the 7 of Michael, and then you have the 4 of Ariel, right? And this is when things this is where things can get messed up, because the 7 of Michael represents, basically it's the equivalent to the 7 of Swords. And this is about where, honesty, like I was just talking about, has to really be very important, because people will give you a difficult, right? You have the 4 of Pentacles, right? The Page of Raphael, which is like the Page of Cups. So they will give you, you have others who will give you now and moving forward a difficult time. And like I said before with the High Priestess, they'll be disingenuous about it. You won't necessarily know how they're moving, but you crabs should know how they're moving. They like you, but you have individuals that are very disingenuous about how it is that they choose to interact with you. So so it's this sense of it's the sense of you crabs needing to be strong within yourselves. Otherwise, if you're not strong within yourself, like I said before, you can end up getting derailed. You can end up getting taken off course, off of where you want to be in life. You may end up thinking that, or may end up going through a little bit of time right now, especially right now, right around the holidays, where you think that, what if, just the what if, right? Like, what if you are sensitive? What if, people are masquerading that they like you, when that's not necessarily the case. You have people who really do like you. But the thing about it is that the 7 of Michael and the 4 of Ariel represents, though, is that you just have to learn to be a lot more in tune with who you are. Because the truth is that for you crabs, for a zodiac sign, for a zodiac sign that is the most emotional, you're not necessarily really in tune with really your emotions, meaning that you're the most emotional zodiac sign, but at the same time, you crabs do not know how to actually identify what's going on with you to where you can furthermore understand it. You have some form of ability to identify what's going on with you, but to where you actually understand how to communicate it to yourself, let alone to other people. And like it is, I said before, that can end up getting you messed up, because the Page of Raphael right here represents when sometimes people go to like hurt your feelings, or maybe they do hurt your feelings. You crabs may not necessarily know how to actually let people know what it is, or how to even go about making the decision that you need to make that would be wise for you, so that you can not have this problem. For instance, sometimes you may need to cut certain people off. You know what I'm saying? And in order for you to understand who to cut off, how to cut off, you have to know what's going on with you, right? If you don't understand what's going on with you, how are you going to be able to understand? How are you crabs going to be able to understand what to do if you don't understand what's going on with you? And see, you have the Queen of Michael, and then you have the Magician. And this is where it is that these two cards are saying that this right here is when it is that you crabs want to take this time as an opportunity to, yes, be in solitude, not isolation, solitude, meaning it's something where you want to be in, and take this time, right, that is supposed to be peaceful for you, crabs, and understand your feelings and emotions a lot better, right? So that way you will understand what it is that you're feeling. You'll understand how to actually to be more strategic, because what you crabs are supposed to be doing is that you crabs are supposed to be, now again, I'm not saying that you crabs are not tough. I didn't say all of that. I know plenty of crabs. What I'm saying here is that sometimes, again, you can be led astray, right, and off balanced, so to speak, due to the fact that you crabs are unprepared to understand yourself internally. So the magician represents a greater understanding of just what it is that you see here. So in other words, understand what you crabs got going on, right? And be more, that'll enable you to be more strategic about what you're doing in your life, to plan further ahead, to not be so as emotionally invested when people start up their nonsense, how to disengage from the nonsense so that you don't get yourself caught up. I just gave you just gave you a lot of game right there. So let's clarify the magician. So you have the Four of Swords, Five of Wands, Two of Pentacles, Six of Wands, and then you have the Ace of Wands. So I just want to go ahead and say shout outs to Marmar. She's on TikTok. I also have her on Instagram. She's a crab herself. she's to be quite honest with you, she's quite an interesting character. And if anybody has TikTok, I'm going to go ahead and leave the link to her TikTok and her Instagram in the comment section below. Shout outs to you if you're watching this. If you've made it this far, Marmar, shout outs to you. And keep being an interesting character. That's all I'm going to say. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. I love it. I love it. It's very interesting. But to clarify the magician, you have the Four of Swords, Five of Wands, and the Two of Pentacles. And these three cards right here for you represent how, you crabs, because in the coming year, you crabs are going to understand you're going to learn who to stay away from so that you don't waste so much time feeling like you need to give everybody a chance. No, you'll be able to understand faster who to give a chance and who not to essentially give a chance so that you don't waste time getting to know every single person. And then the Five of Wands and the Two of Pentacles, right now it's just difficult for you because you're not as understanding your own emotions too well. This is why it is that I said that you have homework to do. And you crabs have the Six of Wands and the Ace of Wands, which is, if you do this, like I said, you'll spend less time wasting your time with individuals who, you could have had a special relationship with, or so you thought, and then it ends up turning out to be nothing. So that's it for now. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe.